Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Well, it's coming towards Valentine's Day, and in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I wanted to talk about dating, and I wanted to give you some tips about lessons I have learned over the many years that I've been dating. I'm in a really happy relationship, but that followed many years of being single and many different types of different scenarios and many breakups. I think I've learned a bit now that I can share with you. Let's just dig right into this. My first tip is for apps, dating apps, I would say how you use them. Really, first of all, you need to consider your geography and your location, because if you're in a city like I am, like London, there's just so many people and there's so many apps and people, and it can be quite overwhelming. So my approach in the end was to pick one app and just focus down. So whether it's Hinge, Bumble, Tinder was just there was too many people on it for me. I just couldn't, even when I put my filters on, it just was too much. So I actually focused on Inner Circle, which is an app you had to pay for. I liked it. I have to be honest, I liked it. I wanted someone who was career motivated, and that was a priority for people on Inner Circle normally. But again, it doesn't matter what one you pick. Pick one that feels right for you and what you're looking for. And I would just focus on that, because I don't know about you, but I do not have time to manage messages on multiple apps. I like it all in one place, one app. That is my first tip, is to pick your fave app and focus down. Now, some people are just against apps, and that's absolutely fine. You have to do what's right for you. You have to listen to your gut. For me personally, I wanted to date. I've said that, shared in a previous video, spilling the tea, that one of my reasons for moving to London was to open up my dating circle a bit, from coming from somewhere where I kind of knew all the people in my dating circle. For me, I wanted to date. I wanted to use an app. I know other people, I was even speaking to a girlfriend this week who's I've just deleted all the apps because I do not have the the mental capacity to deal with it. And I get that. I totally get that. You do have to have a sort of a thick skin at that point in time, and we go through phases. Sometimes we feel like dealing with it and sometimes we don't. You also, I think you kind of have to be a bit of a, I don't want to say a diva or a bitch, because these are all names that have been thrown at women with negative connotations over the years, but I feel like you have to be quite assertive, is the word I would use, on the apps, in terms of not wasting time, so to speak. If you feel like someone's a time waster, I would just move on. But for me, I would not have met my current partner if I hadn't met him on an app. I know that we worked in different parts of London, we weren't socializing in the same circles or in the same areas. It just wouldn't have happened, and I'm so grateful for the apps for doing that. But I will say, excuse me, I've eaten recently. There was a lot of heartache before that, and I'm emotionally sensitive. I know I am, and I try to own it and use it as a superpower, but it's a bloody annoying superpower sometimes. So yeah, I've had the bad breakups, all of those situations. If you want to date and potentially meet someone that you want to be with long term, then I would say the app is a really good way to do it. It's certainly not the only way to do it. For me, I was working in finance in London, and I didn't have a lot of time, and the time I had, I wanted to spend with my friends going out. I wasn't on the prowl or whatever. I mean, obviously if you meet someone, you meet someone, but for me the app just made a lot of sense, and that was my approach in the end. My next advice is know what you don't want and be open-minded as to what you could want. And I think that for me was quite a good lesson to learn, and I learned it the hard way by being with people who there were things about them that I knew I just didn't want, and no fault, just things that weren't working for me. And if you can have an idea in your head about, okay, that definitely, I would have to be with someone who blah blah blah, or I could not be with someone who X, if you know, you know. I know people say, oh well, and there will be things you will compromise on in a relationship, as everyone knows, that you wouldn't expect to be able to compromise on. But I think there's the basic things where that's a deal breaker. Take pride in what you want. Everyone is different. There is, somebody for that person if they're not the person for you. First dates. Oh my God, first dates. Oh, particularly when it's blind, when it's through an app. So my rule was that I would try as much as possible to have a first date with someone in the daylight. And it'd be a casual, as in nothing that you'd have to wear heels for, or That was just a personal rule. Nothing that I didn't felt comfortable in. Like my first date with my current partner, I was in jeans and a jumper. Like that was it, because I'd met a friend before meeting him, and I was like, well, I'd rather spend more time with my friend than go home and get ready. And then the second date, because I knew I liked him for the first date, then I did have it in the evening, and I was able to put a bit more effort in, because I knew for me, the effort was worthwhile. I don't know about you, but there's just something about getting yourself dressed up, and when you're going on a first date with someone and then you meet them and you know in the first 5 minutes that it's not going to go anywhere, you're like, oh, and I spent ages doing my hair or my makeup and blah, blah, blah. So I just daytime easy dates. Now, some people really like walking dates. My issue with walking dates was I always used to try and date tall men. That sounds really bad. I didn't actually try to. I just was naturally drawn. I was naturally attracted to tall men, and my partner's 6'7", so. But if you're on a walking date, I couldn't look at them because I would have to be looking like this, and then I'd trip and fall because the paths in London are just not great. There's been disasters, and you just feel like, okay, it's good to be moving and have different things to comment on that you look at, but no, sorry, I'd rather do another activity like mini golf. That was the first date for me and my current partner. And then you can, like, if a lot of these places, there are like food options around as well, which you can get. So for me, like a fun little activity that way. If you're the same height as someone you're gonna go walking with, then walking dates could absolutely be for you. Now, I've heard this said a few times, and it's so true. You can judge a lot about someone by the close friends they keep. There's all these scientific studies to show that people become like the people they surround themselves with, closely with. And that's how, you know, couples can sort of morph into each other years, because you spend so much time together. But I think like your close 5 friends, you're gonna be like them. So it sounds like horrible to judge someone on their friends, but actually I would judge someone on their close friends. And I have in the past. And it's always been pretty spot on. I'm thinking of someone I dated, and the person who was their best friend who they lived with, he used to just send me messages sometimes that I was like, this is weird, like this is just not. Then the guy was dating several months in, just like completely ghosted, and I was like, I'm fine if you don't want to go out anymore, but just don't ghost, like just say, rather than, I think they think it's kinder almost to just like fade away. But it's like this slow, horrible realization, and then a sort of relief in a way, because they're definitely not right for you if that's the way they can behave, and you don't want that. But yeah, it sort of undermines everything. But yeah, back to my point, you can judge a lot about someone by looking at their friends, and that I hold true to this day. This next advice might be construed as harsh, but we're going there. Think about the type of partner that you want to be in the relationship. And what I'm getting about here is, do you want to be wined and dined and paid for a lot of the time? Or do you not want that? Because if you do want that, and fine, I have friends who like go completely both ways and I love them equally. But if you expect to be paid for at meals and have like gifts every and so often, and if you pick someone who you'll know after a little while is not like that, and then they get surprised when they don't, and it's a huge source of like sadness and frustration and argument. But you need to figure out at this pretty early on, and it comes from self-awareness, is like, it can wait almost until you're living together, because then seeing what you do with bills, and do you divide them 50-50 or do you divide them based on your income? And you need to like study yourself and say, well, what beforehand, and be like, okay, well, what are my expectations? And honestly, if they don't meet the other person's expectations, I think that could be a deal breaker, because money and finance, it just is like so pivotal to our entire existence. That's something that you need to get sort of straightened out early about it. And again, it's harsh advice and there's judgment attached, but forget the judgment and just brace self-awareness and just say, yeah, this is what I want, this is what I expect. Personally, like, I'm very 50-50 about everything, but I have friends that go completely the other way, and that's fine. Everyone can do whatever they want. Oh, the age-old question, should you be physical with someone early on or wait? There is no one answer. And some people will say yes, there is. But I'm sorry, I know people, it's normally women, I don't know why, who like to say, no, I'm gonna make them wait 2 months, or I'm gonna make them just wait. And then there are people who will like get down and dirty on the first date, and it's like a bonding exercise for them and a get to know them, but like getting to know whether you're physically compatible with someone is essential in my book. There's no rule. Do whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing, and it can be different for different. If you're going out with different people, you might feel just differently, and they might have different preferences, and then you have to factor those in. So I would go in with a completely like open mind and do whatever you feels comfortable. But I'm not gonna sit here and say, no, you need to wait until the 5th date before you sleep with them, because it's just not always how life goes down. It's just not. Or you can wait months and still be really happy. So there's no one way, and I'm not gonna put a rule on that, in my view. So I did learn the hard way through sheer life experience, but the happy thing is I'm in a really good, healthy, I say as healthy as possibly can be, long-term relationship. And yeah, these tips that I learned over the years really helped me, and I'm now in a really, really happy place. And I hope that you will be too, and enjoy being single if you're single. Enjoy dating. Enjoy the thrill of getting to know someone for the first time. That in itself is a like magical thing. Some people lament the fact that they're single, but you know what? You have all the discovery and the joy ahead of you. I mean, I wouldn't change at the moment because I've had that. So I wouldn't change that now, because what I have now is a different stage. But they're equally fantastic. So just embrace yourself this Valentine's. As corny as it sounds, look in the mirror and tell that person that you love them regardless. And tune in again, subscribe for more. Let me know if you have any questions, and take care.